Hello guys and welcome to the DevOps Guy channel. Today we are going to do a hands-on session on using Vagrant. This video will cover the basics of setting up a virtual machine on VirtualBox using Vagrant. Let's get started. I am using Ubuntu 19.10 as my host OS, but you can use any other version of Linux, Mac OS or Windows for that reason. I am using VirtualBox as the VM provider here because it's open source and free to use and easy to replicate. But other hypervisors like VMware or AWS can also be used. You can get a list of all the hypervisors supported by Vagrant on the website. Let's install Vagrant now. Okay, so now let's create our first Vagrant box here. Let's create a directory called my first Vagrant. Let's go inside the directory and let's do Vagrant init. So Vagrant init initializes the directory and creates a Vagrant file inside that directory. This Vagrant file is the heart of Vagrant. This is where all the configuration is saved. Let's see what's inside this Vagrant file. As you can see, there is a directive called config.vm.box. So this is where you specify the type of OS to use. This OS image will then be downloaded by Vagrant. Let's go further down. If you see, there is a column for memory, vp.memory, that sets the amount of memory your virtual machine will be using. Now let's find a box image for our first Vagrant box. Let's open up a browser and go to Vagrant Hub and then click on Find Boxes. Here you can see the list of boxes based on the hypervisor. There are more hypervisors supported. We will stick to VirtualBox. Let's find a small image which we can use. Let's go with hashicorp's images. Okay, let's go with the first one, hashicorp precise 64, which is again a flavor of Ubuntu. Now let's edit our Vagrant file and provide an actual box to it. So we will be using hashicorp's precise 32 image, which is nothing but Ubuntu 12. And there we go. Let's try to start our Vagrant box, Vagrant up. Now if you see, Vagrant tries to download this box that we have specified from the HashiCorp's website. Okay, and it's gonna take some time. Okay, now that Vagrant has downloaded the box and started our VM, let's check the status of both. Okay, so now as you can see, both Vagrant and VirtualBox report the virtual machine running. Let's now connect to our Vagrant box, Vagrant SSH, and we are inside our Vagrant box. As you can see, it is running Ubuntu 12.04, which was defined in the Vagrant file, and this is the hostname set, and these are some verifications. And now if you see the network, this is the default network set by VirtualBox, which is the NAT adapter. This is set for every new virtual machine if you don't specify any other network. Another thing to note is that Vagrant SSH works only where the Vagrant file is created. If you try to do it in a separate directory as I'm doing it now, it will not connect. Let's debug the SSH parameters now. You do vagrant ssh-config. It will show you the SSH configuration used to connect to your Vagrant box. You can see the port 2222 is forwarded to port 22 of the guest, and that's the key file. If you just do a cat of the private key file here, this was the reason we created a different folder to start up our Vagrant box. Let me now show you the concept of shared folders. Let's get into our box and let's do a tf-h. You see a mount point / vagrant. That is a shared folder which is shared between the guest and the host machine. If you just go into that folder, do a ls, you see the vagrant file. This was the file that was used to create this box, hashicorp to size 32. And let's try to create a file here from our box. So file from vagrant box. Let's do a listing. The file is present. Let's go out and see. This file is present on the host box. Now let's try to create a file on the host machine, and you see this will be present inside /vagrant mount point in our box. There it is. So the folder where the Vagrant file is created is shared with your guest OS. In this case, my first Vagrant. Now let's check the memory available in our Vagrant box. If you see, it is somewhere around 500 MB. This was given by default. Let's try to change this memory. We will have to edit our Vagrant file. Let's go to the memory section. If you see, there is a config for the type of provider that we are using, in this case VirtualBox. So all the properties relating to that provider goes into this box, this code. So we will make it 1 GB. Let's try to get in our box and check whether the changes are done or not. If you see, the changes are not done because we have changed the Vagrant file, but we have not updated the configuration for the running VM. Let's try to reload the box. So Vagrant reload will reapply the configuration after shutting down the current VM or the box that we are running. As you can see, okay, so the changes are applied. Let's log into our box. Now if you see, the memory is 1001, approximately 1 GB. That's how we change any configuration for Vagrant boxes. Now let's try to install some application on this. Let's do an apt update, and then let's install Apache web server on this box, and we will access that application or Apache web server in this case from outside this box. Okay, so now let's install Apache. Oops, an older version of Ubuntu. Have to use apt-get. Okay, now our Apache is installed on our box. Let's check the services up or not. Service is running. Let's do a curl on the localhost. Oh, the curl is not installed. Let's install curl first. Okay, let's do a curl now. And you see we get the default page of Apache Web Server. Now let's go out and try this from our host machine. It should not work right now. It's not working. Let's edit the Vagrant file to allow us network access. We will add an entry into the forwarded ports to forward port 80 on our Vagrant box, or forward port 8080 on our host to port 80 on the Vagrant box. So there is a default entry already there. We just uncommented this. Let's reload our box again. Okay, so the box is reloaded. Let's try to do curl from our host machine on port 8080, and you can see the default Apache Web Server page is displayed again. That means the port forwarding is working now. Let's try to edit something in the configuration of Apache. Let's edit the default index.html page. Let's change the first line. So the file is edited. Let's reload Apache 2. It's not really required. Let's try to curl the page again. And we get the updated index.html. Let's try to do it from outside the box. We get the same stuff. Okay, let's check Vagrant status. You see the box is running, and also this time let's try to grep for the VirtualBox process. You see the VM is running in the headless mode. Let's try to stop our box. The command for that is Vagrant halt. It will gracefully stop your box and the underlying virtual machine. Now that our machine is stopped, let's again try to check the status. So it says power off. Let's check for the VirtualBox command. So my first Vagrant is not running now. That's how you gracefully stop your VM. If you try to SSH into it, it will not SSH. Now that you have seen how to restart your box, let's try to delete the box. Let's do a Vagrant global status, and the box is running. Let's try to see the VirtualBox process, and that is running too. Now let's try to destroy the box. So the command is Vagrant destroy, and it will clean up all the resources. It will ask you for a confirmation, say yes here, and then it will force shut down the VM and delete all the associated drives. So that's how you can delete the Vagrant box. Global status says nothing is running. Let's try to see vbox manage list VMs. No VMs found. So guys, that's how you can delete the box after your experimental testing. Okay guys, that completes our hands-on session with Vagrant. There are more advanced functionalities with Vagrant, like provisioning using Ansible, using Shell, and then Vagrant on the AWS cloud, and then running more than one machine with the same Vagrant file. But that will be covered in one of the advanced sessions. Stay tuned for more such videos and subscribe to the channel.